You twins?
Nah, we cousins.
What if I told you that a vampire movie is actually the most biblical film of the year? Yeah, you heard me right. I really do think that Ryan Coogler's Sinners isn't just another horror movie. It's almost like a spiritual slap in the face. And you could even see scripture in disguise within this movie. And today we're going to be diving into why I think that every Christian should watch this movie. However, before we continue, I need to preface this. Even though you might be a Christian watching this, I by no means want to change the way you see Christianity. What I mean by that is that if you genuinely think that this movie isn't something we should watch, then I will respect that. All I'm trying to say is that I don't want us going around putting our own convictions onto one another and making each other feel guilty and far away from the Lord. But with all that out the way, let's just get right into this. So Sinners actually tells the stories of two brothers, Smoke and Stack. Now, up until this point in the film, they just reached Mississippi as they were bootlegging in Chicago when it was run by Al Capone. So they want to open up a juke joint, which is basically just a club. And they do this because they see that their people are doing hard labor. Again, this is during the Jim Crow segregation and during the KKK. So all these brothers want to do is just, bring some light to their community. So we actually get the first instance of something mischievous going on whenever the brothers actually buy the juke joint. Again, the Klansman who sold it to them literally said, "Oh, I'm not Klan," just in case y'all were wondering. And then we also get the scene of the man who ran away into the Klan's couple's houses. And then we saw the indigenous vampire hunters come to the house and claim that whoever they just brought in is not what they seem. And I don't want to spoil the movie, but if you watched it, you know what happens from there. Now, even though this is a horror movie, why don't we look at it as a parable? What if Ryan Coogler was using these vampires as metaphors for sins, addictions, and our desires? I mean, it's not hard to piece together the 7 deadly sins that are seen in this movie, and they can almost be applied to every character. I mean, for pride, you can easily give it to Remick since he's the leader of the vampires. Greed could go to Stack for his hunger for that money, power, and wealth. Lust could easily go to Mary. Gluttony could be Slim. And that's just to name a few, but I want you guys to interpret it your own way and leave them all down in the comments. And honestly, it's not until I saw the scene where Annie was sitting beside Stack where everything clicked for me. Now, in that scene, you might have remembered when Annie said you don't want to get any of that smoke on her. Obviously, this means, don't get this cigarette smoke on the child. But what if she's telling him to leave the smoke behind? I mean, we all know Smoke for having that persona of being wrathful and being protective. And we all know the concept of generational sin. Even Exodus chapter 20 verse 5 talks about how the sins of the father will affect the children. Another scene that really hit me emotionally was we all know that Stack rolls his cigarettes for Smoke because he has PTSD. And when he wasn't around no more, he couldn't roll it on his own. Almost like he can't carry it alone anymore. And that's when his brother would step up and roll the cigarette for him. Almost like Moses and Aaron. Or like when you can't pray or you don't pray, but there's still that someone praying for you. Or how about Annie loading up the gumbo with the garlic? Honestly, this may sound stupid, but really bear with me. It's almost like she was the intercessor. She's almost like the one who saw the signs and trusted her spirit and moved before it was too late. Almost like Proverbs 31. I mean, even the names matter. Smoke and Stack's real name is Elijah and Elias. Both versions of the same prophet. Elijah was the one who called down fire, who battled the false gods. And he did all of that alone. And in Sinners, Smoke becomes that prophet, calling out evil and protecting his people. And then when we get to the somewhat showdown between Smoke and Remick, we see that Remick wants worship. He wants control. However, he disguises that by saying he wants unity, a literal antichrist. If you remember the showdown between Remick and Sammy, and Remick is grabbing Sammy and puts him under the water 3 times, you can interpret that as symbolism for him getting baptized into new life. So I mean, should Christians really watch this movie? Yes, but I want to say for the entertainment. Watch it because it shows how easily sin sneaks itself in through pride, through lust, and through lies. Watch it because it reminds us that the devil won't come to us in horns. Sometimes he's singing your favorite song. Honestly, watch this movie because it teaches better theology than some of these sermons out here. And it's not to scare you, it's to wake you up and to train your spiritual discernment. It's almost like we've grown numb in our generation. We constantly scroll past suffering every day. We justify compromise. But see, Sinners won't let you sit comfortably. It will grab you and shake you and reveal the spiritual warfare that's happening around you. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against power and principalities. Another thing I want to talk about is the scene where everyone's partying, and the fact that it brought different eras into the juke joint. Just it made me feel something. I don't really know how to describe it, but I came to the conclusion by the end of this movie that Ryan Coogler was also trying to send a message to the people of the nightlife. And if you're one of those people who like to have fun and turn up, then, you know, no judgment, because I like doing that too. But he's also showing us that through these things, if we don't have that discernment, sin will sneak itself easily. And so this is why I think you should watch this movie. It will almost make you look at your life differently. Like, who's the Remick in your life? Where's the smoke that you need to leave behind? And who's your Annie, the one that's praying for you every time you seek danger? So don't think of this as a movie, think of it as a mirror. So if you guys enjoyed that analysis on the movie, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Again, man, there is so many things I wish I could talk about in this video. I mean, the soundtrack is so good too. And honestly, I was warned not to watch this movie, but I watched it and I fell in love with it instantly. And to be honest, it could just be that I find movies like this really interesting. But again, I'm not going to ramble for too long. I want you guys to let me know what you guys think in the comments. And with all that out the way, may God be with you all.